Now presentation is also okay. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can see the presentation, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Shall I start?
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
Or you are introducing?
Sir, Dimple will take over the session, sir.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dimple Shree, CSI MVSR Student Body Coordinator. A warm welcome to every one of you for the second day of CSI Telangana State Level Student Digital Convention, Fusion 2020, hosted by the Department of Computer Science and Engineering and Information Technology Department of MVSR Engineering College. I'm honored to welcome our keynote speaker of the day, Dr. M. Prasad Babu, sir, Regional Vice President 5, CSI MVSR EC. Dr. Surendra Prasad Babu Sir Maddali was born in 1956 and came from a rural background with primary education.
You need not give the entire introduction because yesterday you have given already. Okay, you can just, I will take over the session.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome you to this CSI Telangana State Student Digital Convention, Fusion 2020. And the theme of this convention is blockchain technology. And therefore, I thought I can give a keynote on this blockchain technology so that the participants will get benefit out of that. So, in this presentation, I would like to give you a brief introduction. During the past 2 years, everyone everywhere are crazy about the fascinating blockchain technology and about the digital currency, cryptocurrency, or crypto gold or Bitcoin. The terms blockchain and Bitcoin are confusing because they may be used to refer any three parts of the concepts: the blockchain technology itself, the protocols through which transactions are made, or the actual cryptocurrencies. Blockchain technology is the first technology that actually will change the way we make the decisions and exchange value. Its market size is expected to grow from US dollars $411.5 million in 2017 to $7,683.7 million by 2022 at a compounding growth rate of 79.6%. Banks or the institutions which sets the rules on how transactions will be executed. So we have experienced during the 4 years back when our Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the cancellation of this notes. Then we have experienced that we ran to the banks for getting the money. So at that time, they ruled us. They set the rules on how transaction will be executed. It's not only this we have experienced the rules that are being set by the banks on transactions. How long will it take? How much will they charge you, and so on. So for each transaction, how they are going to charge also will be set by the banks. However, now authentication and authorization are vital to all digital transactions. Now, everybody is shifted to the digital transactions. Now, in this scenario, authentication and authorization are playing a vital role in these digital transactions. They provide us with a set of rules that rebuild the trust and allow us to transform your economics and almost every aspect of life in a radical way by lowering our uncertainties. But if these transactions are made on the blockchain, then a set of computers shall participate in the network to validate these transactions. Blockchain is a powerful tool that fulfills the both authentication and ownership requirements by protecting the individual from having to share more personal information than they need to for an exchange, leaving them exposed to hackers. So we can avoid the hackers for hacking our personal information. The blockchain can be treated as a public ledger. That means it is easy to query and block explorer for the transactions associated with a particular Bitcoin address. For example, you can look up your own wallet address to see the transactions. The blockchain industry is using these terms interchangeably because it is still in the process of shaping itself into what could likely become established layers in a technology stack. What you can do with the blockchain? There are 4 areas of this applications of this blockchain. Digital identity. The first area is digital identity, digital assets. Second one is digital assets, and third one is smart contracts, and fourth one distributed applications. So again, these 4 blocks can be again classified into various aspects. For instance, if you can just consider here the digital identity, the gambling and reward loyalty incentive schemes, insurance, asset ownership, chain of custody, workflows, management, etc., etc. Similarly, smart contracts, when you just consider here workflow management, digital voting, and medical and R&D reporting, regulatory reporting, and KYC and AML compliance, distributed trading, notary service, and data storage, etc., etc. For the branch of this, we can say that the area of the blockchain, that is smart contracts. When you consider here digital assets, the ticketing, adult, automated stock control, supply chain management, and clearing and settlement, and crowding. So we will be explaining about this crowding at a later stage, etc. And distributed applications is programmable legal contracts, and financial asset management, digital identity assurance, digital rights management, tax automation, payments, etc., etc., are coming under distributed applications of the blockchain. KYC means know your customer. AML means anti-money laundering. Benefits of, what are the benefits of this blockchain? Disintermediation and trust exchange. 2 parties are able to exchange information without the oversight or intermediation of a third party, strongly reducing or even eliminating the counterpart risk. Empowered users. Users are in control of all their transactions and all information and transactions. High quality data. Blockchain data is complete, consistent, timely, accurate, and widely available. Durability, reliability, and languidity. Due to the decentralized networks, blockchain does not have a central point of failures, and it is better able to withstand malicious attacks. Process integrity. Users can trust that transactions will be executed exactly as the protocol commands, removing the need for a trusted third party. What is the genesis of the blockchain? Bitcoin is the first and largest decentralized cryptocurrency, and it was created in 2009 by an unknown person through a white paper using the pen name Satoshi Nakamoto. Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Basically, helps to operate this transaction one-to-one without the bank as an intermediary. Now, for all the transactions, if you just want to pay here in Google Pay, so Google is the third party. Now, in the Bitcoin, there is no third party at all. When you pay in a Google Pay, so some transactions will be will be successful and some transactions will be failure. For a failure transaction, our money will be withdrawn from our bank and it is going to be deposited maybe in a weekdays or a 15 days like that. It is taking time. So that third party problems will be overruled here in the case of using this Bitcoin technology or blockchain technology. Users can send and receive Bitcoins electronically for an optional transaction fees using wallet software on a personal computers. Bitcoins are created as a reward for computational processing work or mining, in which users offer their computing power to verify and record payments into the public ledger. Individuals or companies engage in mining in exchange for transaction fees and newly created bitcoins. Also, in exchange for a fiat money, products and services. Fiat money is a currency that a government has declared to be a legal tender, but it is not backed by any physical commodity, and the value of a fiat money is defined by the relationship between the supply and demand rather than the value of material from which the money is made. Payment using the decentralized virtual currency are recorded in a public ledger that is stored on many potentially users' computers and continuously viewable on the internet. So cryptocurrency has no intrinsic value in that, and it is not redeemable to another commodity such as gold. It has no physical form and exists only in the network. Its supply is not determined by any central bank, and the network is completely decentralized. The blockchain is a technology that allows the decentralization of all transactions of any type between all parties on a global basis. The blockchain has complete information about addresses and balances from the Genesis block, the very first transaction ever executed, to the most recently complete block. Key factors include reduced total cost of ownership, faster transactions, simplified business process with transparency and immutability, and rising cryptocurrencies market capitalization and ICO. Initial coin offering. Initial coin offering means uh, generally when an app is loaded here in the internet, what we say is we give a free service for 1 week, 10 days like that. Say for example, Paytm. So they give us a free service or some money. So offerings to us so that we will use that app forever. We'll get habit of using the app in further transactions. So that is called initial coin offering. So this is a business trick and are expected to drive the overall growth of the market. The blockchain is the public ledger of all Bitcoin transactions that have ever been executed. It is constantly growing as miners add new block nodes to it for every 10 minutes. 10 minutes, one node is added to record the most recent transactions. Each full node has a copy of the blockchain which is downloaded automatically when the miner joins the Bitcoin network. The blockchain lifecycle is given here. The blockchain is another application layer to run on the existing stack of internet protocols to enable economic transactions, both digital currency payments and other more complicated financial transactions. Blockchain may be used not just for transactions, but also as a registry and inventory system for the recording, tracking, monitoring, and transacting of all assets. Like a giant spreadsheets for registering all assets, an accounting system for transacting them on a global scale. Any form of asset registry and inventory and exchange include every area of finance, economics, and money. Tangible assets, physical property, intangible assets like votes, ideas, reputations, intentions, and health data, etc., etc. So this is the blockchain life cycle. I will explain you all these steps here, in steps of 7 steps. So here, the first one is someone requests for a transaction. Then the second step is the requested transaction is broadcasted in a P2P network consisting of computers and known as nodes. And then when a transaction is broadcasted, immediately the nodes, so different nodes will be there, the nodes will validate the transaction. The network of nodes validate the transactions and the user's status using some known algorithms. So for validating this transaction, so some algorithms will be used. So that algorithm I will mention at the end. Then a verified transaction can be, when you just consider here, a transaction is verified, validated and verified. So that verified transaction may be a cryptocurrency, or it may be a contract, or it may be a record, or other information. Then the fourth step here, once verified, the transaction is combined with other transaction to create a new block of data for the ledger. So the cryptocurrency, when I say that the cryptocurrency has no intrinsic value, that is not redeemable for another exchange of commodities such as gold, as I told you already, has no physical form and exists only in the internet. I said about this cryptocurrency earlier in this presentation itself in the beginning. Its supply is not determined by a central bank, and the network is completely decentralized. So this is a cryptocurrency. Once verified, the transaction is combined with other transaction to create a new block of data for the ledger. The new block is then added to the existing blockchain in a way that is permanent and unalterable. So after the block is added to the chain, then the transaction is complete. The same thing here, which I have shown in the diagram, is explained in terms of the 6 steps. The first step is request a transaction by some user. Then the requested transaction is being broadcasted through a P2P network consisting of computers and known nodes. And yet the known nodes, network nodes, validate the transaction and also user's status by some algorithm. So not only the transaction validation, but so who is requesting also, their status also is going to be validated by some algorithm. Then step number 3, that is a verified transaction may involve cryptocurrency. It may be a contract, or it may be records, and or it may be any other information. Step number 4. The verified transaction is combined with the other transaction and create a new block of data for the ledger. The new block is added to the existing blockchain in a way that is permanent and unalterable. The transaction is being completed. They blocked. So this is something about the introduction of this blockchain and the process of this blockchain technology. And so when we go into the deeper of this blockchain technology, the blockchain can be stored as a flat table or in a simple database. The blockchain is a data structure of an ordered backlinked list of blocks of transaction. A vertical stack with blocks layered on the top of each other. Genesis block serves as the foundation of the stack. A block can be identified in two ways, by referring the block hash or by referencing the block height. So I have already given this earlier, and again, so in a different manner, that in a clear picture, I have given this blockchain example. Blockchain can be technology in 4 types, that is smart contracts, digital rights, gambling, escrow, etc., etc., and securities, equity, private market, debt, crowdfunding, and derivatives, and record keeping, that is loyalty programs, supply chain, ownership, proofs of identity, intellectual property, and other digital currency and fraud reduction, e-commerce, global payments, remittance, P2P lending, and microfinance. These are the examples of a blockchain. Major features of a blockchain. It is shared and distributed digital ledger, usually contains the financial transactions. And each transaction is replicated across a number of systems in a almost real time, usually exists over a peer-to-peer network. It uses cryptocurrency and digital signatures to prove identity, authenticity, and enforce read-write access rights. It can be written by certain participants, and it also can be read by a wider audience. It has a mechanism to make it hard to change historical records, or at least a easy detecting process is involved when someone is performing some changes. It has a mechanism to make it hard to change historical data. It is very difficult to change historical data, historical records in the blockchain, because it has a mechanism for it. Yeah, so by somehow somebody changes this record, then there is a detecting mechanism to find the culprit. Whatever I just spoke, it is explained here. It is not a server based. When you just here take a server based transaction, it will be like that. And P2P network means it is like this. P2P network of nodes are there, and one-to-one correspondence will be there here. This is called a P2P network, and this is a server based network. This is a centralized network here. Centralized network. So this guy owns the data and will likely change you to see it, just like Facebook. So they have owned the data, whatever we click it, and then they are selling like that elsewhere. Third party have to trust him. Data can be compromised due to the mistakes or to serve the third party purposes. When it is in a distributed P2P network, blockchain keeps all of the data synchronized. No third party. This is called blockchain network. Each party in the network is called a node. Every node has a copy of the data in a kind of collective ownership. Operations of P2P networks. P2P computing or networking is a distributed application architecture that partitions tasks or workloads between the peers. Peers are equally privileged, equipotent participants in the application. They are set to form a peer-to-peer network of nodes. Transaction. Transactions are data structures that encode the transfer of value between the participants in the Bitcoin system. Each transaction is a public entry in a global double entry bookkeeping ledger, Bitcoins or blockchain ledger. Block. Blocks are files where data pertaining to the Bitcoin network is permanently recorded. A block records some or all of the most recent Bitcoin transactions that have not yet entered any prior blocks. It is like a page of a ledger or a record book. Each time a block is completed, it gives way to the next block in the blockchain. A block is thus a permanent store of records which once written cannot be altered or removed. The primary identifier of a block is its cryptographic hash, made by hashing the block header twice through the SHA-256 algorithm. This algorithm name is also known as a digital fingerprinting algorithm. For example, if you can just consider here is an example of a block hash of the first Bitcoin block ever created. A second way to identify a block is by its position in the blockchain, called the block height. Genesis block is at a block height of 0, and each subsequent block added on top of the first block is one position higher than in the blockchain. The block height on January 1, 2017 was approximately 4,46,000. Unlike the block hash, the block height is not a unique identifier. Structure of a block. So, there are 4 bytes are marked for block size and the size of the block in bytes description. There are 80 bytes block header. Several fields from the block header will be there. 1 to 9 bytes variant transaction counter, how many transactions follow. Variable transactions, the transactions recorded in this block. Average transaction is at least 250 bytes and average block contains more than 500 transactions. A complete block with all transactions is 1,000 times larger than the block header. So 84 and 1 to 9 bits, 84 plus in the 1 to 9 bits variant, this is the transaction counter will be there in the block header. So 84 bytes is the size of the block. It is fixed. The size of the block is fixed in the blockchain. Block header, 4 bytes, version, a version number to track software protocol upgrades, 32 bytes or previous block hash, a reference to the hash of the previous block in the chain, 32 bytes Merkle root, a hash of the root of the Merkle tree of this block of transaction. 4 bytes are earmarked for timestamp, the approximate creation time of this block. 4 bytes are earmarked for difficulty difficulty target, the proof of work algorithm difficulty target for this block, and 4 bytes is a nonce, a counter used for the proof of work algorithm. So these are the description of a block header. 32, that is 64, 64 plus 4, 16, that is 80. Block size is 80. What does a block look like? So it is an example of a block, the details which I have given earlier will be here, timestamp and previous block and nouns and version information, and Merkle tree also I told you that Merkle tree hash transactions, D list, etc., will be there. So these things will explain you later. So this is unconfirmed transactions. There are 5 transactions are there. They are approaching this blockchain network. So he is approaching, and this fellow approaching, and these are the people who are approaching this, and block 149, block ID, etc., previous block, etc., and these are the blocks 145, 146, 147, block ID, previous block, and transactions, etc., which each of the things which I have just now explained. Merkle tree. A Merkle tree is constructed tree bottom up by recursively hashing pairs of nodes until there is only one hash called the root or Merkle root. Each block is identified by hash by SHA-256 hash algorithm on the header of the path. Each block also references the parent block through the previous block hash field in the block header. The sequence of hashing linking each block to its parent creates a chain going back all the way to the Genesis block. So that is called a Merkle tree. The cryptographic hash algorithm used in Bitcoin Merkle tree is a double SHA-256. When n data elements are hashed and summarized in a Merkle tree, you can check to see if any one data element is included in the tree with at most 2 into log 2, log n to the base 2 calculations, making this a very efficient data structure, because we have only 2 into log 2 calculations. So this is L1, L1, L2, L3, L4 data blocks. This is previous block is L1, that is hash 00, and hash 01, hash 10, hash 11. So these are these things. 00, L1, L2 is 01, L3 is 10, L4 is 11. So when we hash it, these two will be hashed here into hash 0, and these two will be hashed into 1, hash 1, and these two will hash into hash 0 and hash 1, that is a top hash. Every time only two chains will be hashed into next level Merkle tree. So this is the data blocks in the Merkle tree. Blocks and Merkle tree. As I told you, so I have already given what is each block. Here block x plus 1, block x plus 2, block x plus 3. So previous hash here, timestamp here, redundance, root hash of all transactions below. So these are the transactions. Here these are the transactions. Here these are the transactions. So then when hashing is done like this, x plus 1, x plus 2, and x plus 3. And this will be all the 4 transactions here, and then hash 1, hash 2. So whichever I just now have shown you, it will be explained here as an example. Calculating the nodes in a Merkle tree. HA is the SHA-256 transaction A. HAB is the SHA-256, SHA-256, HA plus HB. That 32-byte hash is stored in the block header and summarizes all the data in all 4 transactions. The same thing. So these two are hashed here, and these two are hashed here. These two are hashed here. HA plus HB, HAB. So this is HABCD. Merkle tree. HA means this one. Transaction A, this one. HB means transaction B. So HA is transaction A, HB is transaction B, HC is transaction C, HD is transaction D, HA plus HB, HAB, HCD, and HABCD. So like this, we can go to the root. A Merkle tree summarizing many data elements. A node can prove that a transaction K is included in the block by producing a Merkle path that is only 4 bytes, 432 bytes. Blockchain. The next topic is on blockchain and industries. IBM and the Integrated Transport and Logistic Company, Maersk, a global leader in container shipping, intended to establish a joint venture to provide efficient and secure solutions for conducting global trade using the distributed ledger technology, DLT technology. The list of big companies funding blockchain startups is long. Alphabet, Google, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, GS, Cisco System, Jain Technologies, companies like Microsoft, IBM, Oracle, Intel, Accenture are also jumping into the bandwagon. Early efforts include creating blockchain tools for cloud services, offering and taking part in consortiums developing blockchain. Offshoots for specific industry. Early efforts today, around 80% of the banks are developing their own blockchain technology. In September 2016, Barclays carried out the world's first trade transaction using blockchain. They cut a process that normally takes 7 to 10 days down to less than 4 hours. This is huge given 344 billions worth of goods passed through the port in 2016. Dubai government said it's a plan to shift all transactions to blockchain by 2020. I don't know whether they have shifted it or not. We have to check. AXA is the first major insurance group to offer insurance using the blockchain technology, AXA. Discover Fizzy, at 100% automated, 100% secure platform for a parametric insurance against delayed flights. Blockchain exploration and investment. 215, initial capabilities and use cases assessments. Early adoption likely to internal decentralization. Early adoption, regulatory certainty drives, adoption for external users, regulatory. So these are the additions here. Growth 2018 to 24, banks began to see the benefits accorded to early adopters and combined with regulatory guidance, and certainly the network effect takes hold. New service providers and models emerge in between 2018 to 2024. Departments go viral across numerous asset classes. New products and services are created, incumbent process and services are discarded. Maturity. Blockchain adoption is considered a mainstream and integral to the capital market ecosystem by 2025. So these are the some of the blockchain startups, past, present, and future. The present: Facebook, Dropbox, Twitter, and Uber, Airbnb. So these are the present blockchain startups, and in future, social networking, Filecoin, smart contracts, and anti-counterfeiting, governance, etc., will come into existence in the future blockchain startups. How blockchain works. So this I already explained, but with an example he has taken here. The first block is created online and represent the transaction. The block is broadcast to every party in the network, and then those in the network approve the transaction and validate it, and then the block is then added to the chain, which provides a permanent, non-reputable, and transparent record of the transaction, and it is when receive the money from allies. Number 6. The transaction is completed and therefore he receives the money. Alice wants to send money to Ben. This is an example here. How to send money using this blockchain networks. How transaction is verified in blockchain. The transaction syntax and data structures are correct. The input and outputs have values. The transaction is less than the block size of 1B. The values must be more than 0 and less than 21 million. None of the inputs have a hash that is equal to 0. The lock time is less than the maximum allowed number. The transaction size is greater than or equal to 100 bytes. The number of signatures is less than the signature limit. The unlocking script can only push number on the stack onto the stack. The locking script must match its standard format. A matching transaction must exist. If a transaction is missing, move the transaction to the orphan transaction pool. When it is missing, it will go to the orphan transaction pool. If the transaction is a coin-based transaction, then it must have a maturity of 100 confirmations. For each input, the output must exist and not have been spent. Check that each input value is in the required range. Reject if the input value is less than the output value. Reject if the transaction value is too low to get into an empty block. The unlocking scripts for each input must be verified against the output locking scripts. Individual transaction events. New block of the transaction, a blockchain, new blocks, and then a block validated as honest part of the chain and rejected or rejected. Validated yes or rejected like this. Multiple computer mining servers check the validity of the block in the chain. The quickest to check the latest block gets payment. And blockchain versions. There are 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Blockchain 1.0 is a currency, development of cryptocurrencies in applications related to cash currency transfer, remittance, and digital payment systems. Blockchain 2.0 is contracts, stocks, bonds, futures, loans, mortgages, titles, smart property, and smart contracts. Blockchain 3.0 blockchain applications beyond currency, finance, and markets, particularly in the areas of government, health, science, literacy, culture, and art. Blockchain 1.0 cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is a money, digital cash, a way of buying and selling things over the internet. Software developers, miners, exchangers, merchants, processing services, web wallet companies, and users, consumers. From an individual user a perspective, the important element in transacting coin, public address, private key, and wallet software. So where others can send Bitcoin to you, the public address. Private key is a cryptographic secret by which you can send Bitcoin to others. Wallet software is a software you can run on your own computer to manage your Bitcoin. No centralized account. Have the private key to an address. Use it private key to access the coin associated with the address from anywhere. Wallet software can also keep a copy of the blockchain as a part of the decentralized scheme by which coin transactions are verified. E-wallet services versus personal crypto security. Decentralized autonomy in the form of private key stored securely in your e-wallet means that there is no customer service number to call for password recovery or private key backups. If your private key is gone, your Bitcoin is gone. Indication that blockchain technology is not yet mature enough for mainstream adoption. A Bitcoin startup such as a Circle Internet, Financial, and Expo are trying to solve these problems. There is opportunity for some sort of standardized app or service for e-wallet backup. For example, for lost, stolen, bricked, or upgraded smartphones or laptops, table-based wallets. Users can confirm exactly what is happening with their private keys in the block-up service. They may self-administer it or rely on external vendors. Another element of personal cryptocurrency security is coin mixing, pooling your coins with other transactions so that they are more anonymous. Services like a dark coin, dark wallet, and Bitmaxer are the examples of this coin mixing. What are the practical uses of the Bitcoin blockchain number 1.0? Blockchain is already cash for the internet, may become the internet of money like the internet of things. Alternative currencies make sense based on the economic arguments, reducing the worldwide credit card merchant payments fees from as much as of 3% to below 1%, where transaction fees can run from 7 to 30%, whereas here less than 1%. Furthermore, users can receive funds immediately in a digital wallet instead of waiting days for transfer. Bitcoin and its imitators could pave the way for currency, trade, and commerce as we know it to be completely redefined. Bitcoin is not just a better version of Visa, it could also allow us to do things we have not even thought of it yet. These are some of the practical uses. I'm just skipping. Blockchain 2.0 contracts. Blockchain 2.0 space can include Bitcoin 2.0, Bitcoin 2.0 protocols, smart contracts, smart property, dApps, DAOs, decentralized applications, decentralized autonomous organizations, DAX, decentralized autonomous cooperations. Blockchain 1.0 is for the decentralization of money and payments. Blockchain 2.0 is for the decentralization of markets and contemplates the transfer of many other kinds of assets beyond currency using the blockchain. The key idea is that the decentralized transaction ledger functionality of the blockchain could be used to register, confirm, and transfer all manners of contracts and property. Satoshi Nakamoto started by specifying the escrow transactions, bonded contracts, third-party arbitrations, and multi-party signature transactions. Blockchain 2.0, all financial transactions could be reinvented on the blockchain. Stock, private equity, crowdfunding, instruments, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, pensions, and all manner of derivations. Public records too can be migrated to the blockchain. Land and property titles, vehicle registrations, business licenses, marriage certificates, and death certificates, etc., can be done using the blockchain 2.0. Digital identity can be confirmed with the blockchain through securely encoded driver's licenses, identity cards, passports, and voter registrations, etc., can be used by using this blockchain technology. Private records such as IOUs, loans, contracts, bets, signatures, wills, trust, wills and trust, and escrows can be stored. Attestation can be executed via the blockchain for a proof of insurance, proof of ownership, and notarized documents. Physical assets, key can be encoded as a digital assets on the blockchain for controlled access to homes, hotel rooms, rental cars, and privately owned shared access automobiles. Intangible assets can also be protected and transferred via the blockchain. For example, to protect an idea, instead of trademarking it pertaining, you could encode it to the blockchain and you would have proof of a specific cargo being registered with a specific date, timestamp for future proof. Crowdfunding. I have used this word crowdfunding. The idea is that peer-to-peer fundraising models can reduce the need for traditional venture capital funding for startups, remove the need for intermediary third party. Startups raise funds by creating their own digital currencies and selling cryptocurrency shares to early backers. Investors receive tokens that represent shares of the startups by the support. Crowdfunding is a high profile topic at Bitcoin industry conference, and experts argue over its legality. May violate the security laws, sell non share items such as early access to software. A better way to crowdfund cryptocurrency projects in a decentralized yet legal way with more effective checks and balances is needed. Smart property is the notion of transacting all property in blockchain based models, hard assets like a home, car, bicycle, intangible assets such as stock shares, reservations, copyrights, books, music, illustrations, and digital fine art. So these are the smart property. Any assets can be registered in the blockchain. Ownership can be controlled by whoever has the private key. Sell the assets by transferring the private key to another party. Some smart property is a property whose ownership is controlled via the blockchain using the contracts subject to existing laws. Transfer the ownership of a vehicle title from the financing company to the individual owner when all the loan payments have been made. Possibility of a widespread decentralized trustless assets management system as well as cryptographically activated assets. Transparency and immutability. Changes to public blockchains are publicly viewable by all parties, creating the transparency, and all transactions are immutable, meaning they cannot be altered or deleted. Ecosystem simplification. With all transactions being added to a single public ledger, it reduces the clutter and complications of multiple ledgers. Faster transactions. Interbank transactions can potentially take days for clearing and financial settlements, especially outside of working hours. Blockchain transactions can reduce the transaction time to minutes and processed by 24 by 7. Lower transaction costs. By eliminating the third party intermediaries and overhead costs for the exchanging assets, blockchain have the potential to gravity. It reduces the transaction fees. Smart contracts 1 to 3 days. Normally, it will be in minutes. If it is a manual remittance, automatic remittance, etc., etc. Traditional contracts and the smart contracts differences. Expensive, fraction of the cost. Physical presence, virtual presence. Lawyers necessary. Lawyers may not be necessary in this smart contracts. Need for trust between the parties. Three elements of smart contracts that may make them distinct: autonomy, self-sufficiency, and decentralization. Autonomy. After its launch, initiating agent need not be in the further contract. Self-sufficiency in their ability to arrange resources. Decentralization. No single centralized server, but distributed and self-executing across the network nodes. Then So I'm skipping all these things. Distributed applications and apps. Apps are increasingly complex and automated smart contracts that become more like self-contained entities conducting pre-programmed, eventually self-programmed operations linked to a blockchain. Blockchain 2.0 protocols is dApps, distributed applications. Blockchain 1.0 is a dApp that maintains a public transaction ledger. So dApp is an application that runs on a network, is a distributed fashion with a participant information securely protected, and the operation execution is decentralized across the network of nodes. The main properties of dApps are first, application must be completely open source, operate automation autonomously, and its data must be cryptographically stored in a public decentralized blockchain. The second one is the application must generate tokens according to a standard algorithm and possibly distribute some or all of its tokens at the beginning of its operation. The third, the application may adopt its protocol in response to proposed improvements or market feedback, but all changes must be decided by majority consensus of its users. Blockchain is a path to AI. Blockchain could be a path to artificial intelligence where smart contracts platforms are designed to run with increased automation, autonomy, and complexity. It brings non-AI and non-blockchain rule-based systems onto the blockchain to further automate and empower their operations. Implementing programmatic ideas from AI research fields such as ant colony optimization and swarm intelligence and cognitive robots and other general agent-based systems. Blockchain 3.0 applications beyond the currency, economics, and markets. Blockchain technology is not just a better organizational model by requiring the consumers to operate, it also have greater liberty, equality, and empowerment qualitatively. Distributed censorship, resistant organizational models. The primary argument for blockchain 1.0 and 2.0 transaction is the economic efficiency and cost saving afforded by trustless interactions in decentralized network models. But freedom and empowerment are also important dimensions of the blockchain. Decentralized models can be especially effective at promoting freedom and economic transfer in countries with respect to political regimes and capital controls. I am skipping all these things. Anyone worldwide could look up and confirm the activities of the transactional organizations on blockchain. Namecoin. Namecoin is a decentralized domain name system. One of the first non-currency uses of blockchain technology was to prevent internet censorship with Namecoin. Namecoin is an alternative domain name system (DNS) that is transactional and cannot be controlled by any government or corporation. Benefit makes it possible for anyone worldwide who might be the suppressed censor to publish information freely in the internet. Idea. It is the URLs permanently embedded in the blockchain world would be resistant to the government seizing of documents. Censorship issue is that in a URL such as google.com, centralized authorities control the top level domain, the .com portion. The United States controls the .com URLs, China controls our .cn domains, can potentially seize and redirect the URL. As long as there are volunteers running the decentralized DNS server software, alternative domains registered in this system can be accessed. Illegality versus public traceability. Digital identity verification. So these are the 3.0 blockchain 3.0 applications. Digital art, blockchain attestation services, notary document filling, storage and registry, intellectual property protection, etc., etc. These are some of the limitations on the digital art. Advantages and disadvantages of digital art. So these are the Disadvantages. Network security has to be applied to each computer separately. What is consciousness? When ledgers, blockchain will keep the ledger transactions synchronized across the network to ensure that ledgers only update when the appropriate participants approve transaction. When ledgers do update, they update with the same transactions in the same order. This process is called consensus. Consensus algorithms are there. So PBFT algorithm, this is a IBM backed Hyperledger uses this consensus algorithm. Proof of work, proof of stake. These are the algorithms. Proof of work is the second algorithm is proof of work algorithm. Proof of work is one of the most well-known and commonly used algorithms used by one of the strongest cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Unlike PBFT, proof of work does not require every node on the network to submit their messages to reach any consensus. An individual can provide the conclusions to reach a consensus. An individual, also known as a miner, calculates the hash of this block header and checks whether the conclusion is correct or not. If the conclusion is wrong, then miner modifies the nonce and they try again. Proof of work is not only used the Bitcoin blockchain, but also by Ethereum and many other blockchains. Examples of a proof of work algorithm. This is an example here. I'm skipping all these things because proof of stake, another algorithm. Mining is done by the stakeholders who is selected by the network based on the stake. There is no reward for the block miner in the POS system. Miners get the transaction fees instead. Private and public consortium blockchains. Public blockchain. A blockchain was designed to securely cut out of the middleman in any exchange of assets scenario. It does this by setting up a block of a peer-to-peer transaction. Each transaction is verified and synchronized with every node affiliated with the blockchain before it is returned to the system. Anyone within a computer and internet connection can set up as a node that is then synchronized with the entire blockchain history. This redundancy makes the public blockchain extremely secure, and it also makes it slow and wasteful. The electricity needed to run each transaction is astronomical and increases with every additional node. The benefit is every transaction is public and users can maintain anonymity. This is about the public blockchain. A public blockchain is most appropriate when a network needs to be decentralized. It is also great if full transparency of the ledger or individual anonymity are desired benefits. Costs are higher and the speeds are slower than on any private chain, but still faster and less expensive than the accounting system and method used today. This is a good trade-off for cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. Private blockchain. Private blockchain lets the middleman back in to a certain extent. The company writes and verifies each transaction. This allows for much greater efficiency, and transactions on a private blockchain will be significantly faster. The company can also choose who has read access to their blockchain's transaction, allowing for greater privacy than public blockchain. A private blockchain is appropriate to more traditional business and governance models, but that is not a bad thing. Consortium blockchains. Consortium blockchain is a partly private. Instead of allowing any person with an internet connection to participate in the verification of transaction process, or allowing only one company to have full control. A few selected nodes are predetermined. A consortium platform provides many of the same benefits affiliated with the private blockchain, efficiency and transaction privacy, for example, without consolidating power with only one company. You can think of it is a trusting a council of elders. The council members are generally known entities that they can decide who has read access to the blockchain ledger. Consortium blockchain platforms have many of the same advantages of the private blockchain, but operate under the leadership of a group of instead of a single entity. This is an example of a consortium. R3 CEVS consortium, 42 banks with a combined market capital of 60% are global SIFs. Real-time applications of blockchain technology, healthcare. The blockchain can be used to create a typical universal record with a timestamp, a library that enables data retrieval across the diverse databases. This will become exceedingly valuable as the precision medicine and the explosion of sensors, wearables, and M-health apps proceeds. The current health system and legal health IT players quite simply are not well distributed to manage the volume and types of data that are being generated today. Finance, the most mature plans for the using the blockchain aims to cut costs for financial institutions in tasks such as settling transactions involving bonds or other financial instruments. All the back office stuff can be simpler and more reliable, and they can save the tremendous amount of money, explains for finance at a network, New York University. Today, there are a lot of people working in banks just checking the work of other people. Security, personal thinking blockchains, personal thinking chains as a life logging, storage, and backup mechanism. The concept is blockchain technology plus vivo personal connectome, standardized compressed data format, all of a person's thinking via intracortical recordings, consumer EEGs, brain-computer interfaces, cognitive nanorobots, and other methodologies. Thinking could be instantiated in a blockchain and really all of an individual subjective experience, possibly eventually consciousness, especially if it is more precisely defined. There has not been a model or means of sharing mental performance of data. Blockchain government. The idea of using blockchain technology to provide services traditionally provided by the nation states in a decentralized, cheaper, more efficient, personalized manner. Blockchain governance takes advantages of the public record keeping feature of blockchain technology. The blockchain as a universal, permanent, continuous, consensus driven, publicly auditable, redundant record keeping repository. The blockchain could become both the mechanism for governing in the present and the repository for all society documents, records, and history for use in the future. A society's universal record keeping system. Liquid democracy. Just societal maturity impact of the blockchain e-governance. The blockchain is not for every situation. See where it is and is not appropriate to use cryptocurrency and blockchain models. Not all processes need an economy or payment system or peer-to-peer exchange or decentralization or robust public record keeping. Further, the scale of operations is a relevant factor because it might not make sense to have every tiny micro transaction recorded on a public blockchain. Distinguish the economic principles needed for the different range of functions with which blockchain technology could be helpful. Not all of these ideas described need a blockchain. Instead, be implemented through other technologies such as cloud storage or distributed computing models more generally. Do not economify everything. Limitations, technical challenges. throughput, latency, size and bandwidth, security, wasted resources, usability versioning, hard forks, multiple chains, etc. etc. These are the technical challenges. Business model challenges, scandals and public perception, government regulations are the business model challenges. Privacy challenges for personal records, private key compromise, loss of identity. Challenges, nascent technology, uncertainty regulatory status, large energy consumption, control security and privacy, nascent technology, resolving challenges such as the transaction speed, the verification process, and data limits will be crucial in making blockchain widely applicable. So, uncertain regulatory status, because modern currencies have always been created and regulated by national governments, blockchain and Bitcoin face a hurdle in widespread adoption by pre-existing financial situations of its government's regulations status remains unsettled. Large energy consumption. The Bitcoin blockchain networks miners are attempting 450,000 trillion solutions per second in effort to validate transactions using substantial amounts of computer power. Control security and privacy. While solutions exist, including private or permissioned blockchains and strong encryption, there are still cybersecurity concerns that need to be addressed before the general public will entrust their personal data to a blockchain solution. Integration concerns. Blockchain applications offer solutions that requires significant changes to or complete replacement of existing system. In order to make the switch, companies must standardize their transaction. Cultural adoption. Blockchain represents a complete shift to a decentralized network which requires the buy-in of its users and operators. Cost. Blockchain offers tremendous savings in the transaction cost and time, but the high initial capital cost could be a deterrent. Thank you. Over to the. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Prasad Babu, sir. This is Sirisha, sir.
Risha. How many participants are there?
Sir, it is streamed in YouTube, sir. We'll check
Okay.
and let you know, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for the
Thank you.
session. It is
Thank
very
you.
informative, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So I think it took
Thank.
about 1 hour 20 minutes.
Yes, sir.
So your
Thank.
11:30 will be next time.
Yes, sir. Thanks for all your support, sir. I will get
Thank you.
back to you on this, sir.
Okay. So
Yes,
I shall join in the valedictory function.
yes, sir. You will be joining, sir.
Okay. Yes, I'm joining.
Okay,
Wait,
sir.
okay.
Do you want me to call you back, sir, on this?
Yeah.
Do you want to
Please
do
call
any
me back
changes?
at that time.
No, no, no. You want us to do any changes?
No, no, yeah, no need, no need. You just call me back at afterwards.
Okay, sir.
At 5 minutes to 2 or 10 minutes like that before that.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
So that
Thank you, sir.
no need for anything changes in the validator function report.
Okay, sir. Okay,
Thank
sir. I'll get back to you, sir.
you. Okay, thank
Actually, I just want to know you'd like to speak, sir.
it depends upon the time. So if there is
He
a
has
time, then
given
I'll
10.
just speak one or
Yes.
two minutes.
Okay.
Otherwise, now I
Yes.
will speak.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Shall I log off? Leave the call?